Assalamu alaikum, everybody. So, alhamdulillah, we're going to be speaking today about Al-Sarh. This has been highly requested by many of you. And people want to know, what is it? Is it a building? Is it a tall building? A tower? And why did Pharaoh tell Haman to build it for him? Because we know that the biggest structures in Egypt were pyramids. So is Al-Sarh one of the pyramids, or the actual biggest pyramid, the Great Pyramid of Giza? And then comes the description of how it was made. The command was, "Awqidli ala tin." And how does that match Al-Sarh? Because we know that the construction of the pyramids was not done through mud bricks that were heated. It was done through carved stone. The stone was cut and then transported. Let's talk first of all about what Al-Sarh has meant in classical tafsir and in Arabic dictionaries. You'll find actually them saying that Al-Sarh is a tall building, a clear tall building that one can see. But Saraha, these three base letters, has actually a linguistic meaning. And it comes from something which is clear, apparent. Now I could say, for example, kalamun sarih, straightforward speech. Kalamun sarih, totally transparent speech. Also, these three base letters can be rearranged to give further similar meanings. Saraha, we can get the root hasara, which means to restrict something, to confine it. Because when you restrict something, you make it more apparent. Okay, that's just some linguistics there. Now we have to understand this point. Arabic dictionaries were made after the Quran was interpreted. So the meanings of sarh that are found in dictionaries are taken from tafsir literature. What scholars of the past said. When they say it means a building, a tall building, that's a specific meaning that they get from the Quran. And not specifically the Quran, but the Quranic interpretation of that word. So we can't really use that as a proof of what sarh means, because we're just going by what previous scholars said. And that was based on their knowledge of what they thought Al-Sarh was. Did they have knowledge of ancient Egypt like we do today? No, they don't. They didn't have that. So we can use knowledge and findings in ancient Egypt by the Egyptologists and the archaeologists, and can get a more clearer understanding of this word. Now, I explained that sarh was also used in the story of Nabi Sulaiman alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions this because there's a connection between the sarh of Sulaiman alayhi salam and the sarh that Pharaoh told Haman to build. And we're told what it's made from. Also, we're told how you enter it. Now, if it was something related to a really tall building, why would the queen be commanded to udkhuli al-sarh, enter it? So it seems like it was on the ground level. Nabi Sulaiman actually describes it. So it's very important to understand this, that it's not something which is just a building. And I've mentioned this many times, that the Quran interprets other parts of the Quran. Nabi Sulaiman says, "Innahu sarhun mumarradun min qawarir." It is a sarh that is mumarrad. I mentioned the translation of clear glass, but actually it has more specific meanings that we'll get into, inshallah. In the Quran, for example, Allah uses the thulathi mujarrad form, marada, and speaks, for example, about the munafiqun, the hypocrites. It says, maradu ala nifaq. It means they were experts at being hypocrites. They understood the way it was done perfectly, and they followed that way. Marada actually means continuity and consistency. The verb form used here is the form to verb, emphasis, and there is also a ta'diyah. You make something transitive, so you're making something have continuity and consistency. The optics we use, for example, to build telescopes and to build instruments used to see the sky, we have to use purified glass, clear, purified, smooth glass. Now, Nabi Sulaiman had the help of the jinn. So the jinn helped him, likely, in this construction. The same way he had help transporting the throne. It wasn't done through the jinn. The jinn offered to, but he chose an even greater creation. My personal opinion, it was Mikael, alayhi salam. Wallahu a'lam. And he had the knowledge of all the laws that govern the universe. And ilmun min al-kitab. Kitab here doesn't mean revelation, but it means the laws that govern the universe. Now we go to the Sarh that Pharaoh commanded Haman to build. Now, what's mentioned is the way that it was going to be made. Pharaoh says, فَأُقِدْ لِي يَا هَمَانُ عَلَى الطِّينِ فَاجْعَلْ لِي صَرْحًا. So, a few things here to note. There was a fire, there was teen, and there's a process. فَاجْعَلْ لِي. Ja'ala denotes a process. Now, what we find actually, which is quite remarkable, this is an article, how Egypt turned dust into treasures of glass. Surprisingly, this factory, which was bustling around 1250 BC, is in Egypt rather than Mesopotamia, which is generally thought to be where glass was first made.
Focus your efforts. The Pharaoh demands perfection in this optical glass. Do not fail.
Now we get to the purpose of the Sarh. So the purpose of it was to make something clear and apparent. What was it? To make the heavens, the sky, clear. So one could see. Because Pharaoh, why would he say to look up in the skies? And he said that that was a way of proving that أظنه كاذبا, that he's a liar. And I want to prove it to you. It wasn't to build something into the sky. It was to look into the sky. قال فرعون يا هامان ابني لي صرحا لعلي أبلغ الأسباب. Construct for me a sarh that I might reach the ways. أسباب السماوات, the ways of the heavens. فأطلع إلى إله موسى, so that I may look or visualize the God of Musa. وإني لأظنه كاذبا, and I consider him a liar. Now the question is, where is the Sarh? And what happened? Was it built? There was obviously the plan, the intention to build it. Now Allah alludes to something about the Sarh. So let's look at this. Where he says, وَكَذَلِكَ زُيِّنَ لِفِرْعَوْنَ سُوءُ عَمَلِهِ وَصَدَّ عَنْ السَّبِيلِ. And thus we made attractive to Pharaoh the evil of his deeds, and he was averted from the right way. وَمَا كَيْدُ فِرْعَوْنَ إِلَّا فِي تَبَابٍ. And the plan of Pharaoh was not except in ruin. Now this Sarh, was it a successful undertaking by Haman? Did it lead to the people believing that Musa Islam was a liar? No. Did they actually construct it? Were they able to do what they wanted? The technology was still primitive back then. And for optics, you need pure glass. 99.99% pure. No admixtures inside it. Smooth. Something that at that time was not possible. But Sulaiman Islam had the help that he needed. That completes the lesson. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.